Let me welcome all of you to this conference. It's our pleasure that Shri Ashish Chauhanji has found some time to address and provide the keynote address and set the theme of this conference. The topic our students have chosen actually gels very well with the time, the new age and new reality. The new age was anyway coming in, the new realities were being spawned, but the current COVID crisis has really altered the pace at which it was coming. The fundamental reality of the business was changing, and it has been all around us. How? If you notice that we have added a layer on top of us in form of digital technology, which has created a new layer upon us. It is known by various names: augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality, cross realities, and on and on. This layer which has been added on top of us is increasingly doing a fundamental alteration in our lifestyles, which is quite we are witnessing all around us. The basic fact remains that today, internet life, our life as we lead on internet, and the real life are beginning to merge. 20 years ago, probably we all had internet life, but there was a separate real life, and we were able to keep them in isolation from each other. Today, those boundaries have not only been blurred, but they have been merged together. Not only this, it has given rise to a new philosophical multiple realities. Each individual may on a social media or variety of these platforms may be exhibiting multiple personalities. I do not know how many of you recollect a simple game launched by IBM under the Linden Lab called Second Life. Banned in India, banned in many countries, it had its complete virtual reality where you lived life as an avatar. You could create what you wanted to be but could not be in the real life because of the social norms of what we call the 500-year-old philosophy of modernity. So you had to conform to the modernity philosophy in the real life, but avatar provided you in the second life. Live your second life as you would have liked to live. Linden dollars were used, and it altered the business landscape, starting from Coca-Cola, Pepsi, variety of products were launched. Even the islands were bought and sold on the Linden Second Life world. There was a story of a Chinese girl who appeared on a Times cover page, becoming the first millionaire in the Second Life universe. And these were real dollars which she got by getting her audiences to that extent, where the sponsors paid that kind of a money to be present in her island. That was the power of the new life getting created. Although Second Life is gone and replaced or subsumed by many other new reality assumptions. Fundamental fact as a business leaders, we need to understand how it is going to impact our business. Our business was always based upon matching to the realities of the life. What consumers demand, what their realities are we able to match to those realities? Here the social media companies, especially powered by Google and Facebook, just to name the two giants of those, have altered the whole equation. They are not only altering the equation by creating the new life around us, but they are even manipulating our lives. How? Because they have actually learned to capture our behavior in form of data, which is nothing but bits. So our real life captured on the social media is nothing but bits, or other way around, bits can be life. And with this closing of gap, social media companies are capturing the bits of our social behavior in form of data, processing that into information, using that information to manipulate us. Not only they manipulate us, now the newer process has come in where they manipulate the information and feed back that alternate information to us. Result is we have a filter bubbles, we have our own universes, We have our own cocooned viewpoints which are fed to us. They have closed the consumer behavior gap. Data is no more important. Extracted information out of that has become of the ultimate importance. It is the information which is the king in the marketplace. If you have the right information, not only you can manipulate the customer, also you can manipulate the information to change the behavior of customers. In that kind of environment, where do businesses thrive when the reality is changing at this pace? When the reality itself continues to change alternatively every few years as we progress in our social media frontiers. I need to then draw back and bring you back to the basics of the companies which have survived. The realities have always been changing around us, but the pace was much slower. Remember, when the internal combustion engine came in, it took almost 100 years or 80 years to change the reality of a mobility around the world and converted the world into a smaller village. We could travel to far off places, business could expand to far off places. Electricity came in and it took only 40 to 50 years for it to bring us out of the dark ages. But then arrival of the computers, it took 25 years, and internet 15 years, and the new reality which is brought by the applications of internet is changing the worldview in almost 5 to 10 years. But some of the companies you see have thrived under these changing realities. And that is why we need to understand, when the new reality dawns on us or changing realities continue to dawn on us, the businesses which have survived have a philosophy of business. We talk about business models, which is a late phenomena of 80s and 90s, which only talks about the current reality, how we make money in the current reality, using the current reality. The philosophy of business is much longer. IBM, for example, is a company which started prior to this computing reality or a generator of this computing reality and continues to thrive while all its competitors, which were born at various phases, are gone. The fundamental fact remains, and it's wonderful to recollect what Thomas Watson at times is chided, the father of the IBM, with the word, when he made the quotation in the stock market at that point of time, world will need not more than about 50 to 100 computers of IBM. And we use it as a phrase where the giants of the industry go wrong. The fact is he was never wrong, and that fact is being proven wrong today. Fact is, his philosophy of business was, he assumed and he already believed that the whole industry or the whole world of the computing will be evolving like electricity. Ultimately, there will be power generating stations, and probably world will require 100 or 200 or maybe limited number of them power stations across the world, and they will give the computing power to the whole world. That was the philosophy on which IBM worked on. That's why they kept building giant computers, huge computing powers. But then the reality changed. And reality changed because mini computers came in, the power of these giant computers was too big, every business could not afford. So Digital Equipment Corporation, in those days poster boy Ken Olsen, came up with the idea, and IBM dismissed it. Dismissed it by saying, yes, this is a stopgap solution. Our long-term solution still is the power generating stations. This stopgap solution is like portable generators. Yes, we don't have capacity to expand and deliver the power of computing to every home and every place. So in the meantime, these portable generators will be born. And then two gentlemen created a new revolution and changed the reality of world by both named Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs, when they created what we call a personal computer or in form of Apple, and then Macintosh. IBM again dismissed it. And the whole world and giants dismissed it by saying that these are memoryless, meaningless devices. They'll be used for playing. They will never threaten us. Our philosophy of business will remain same. IBM realized the new reality. It did hurt because of the movement, because as the Macintoshes were getting adopted, IBM realized where the mistake it's making is that philosophy of business is still correct, but you'll require appliances at the other end to make use of that power station. And they adopted personal computers also and built one of the large computer maker as well as personal computer maker. And they thrived in the business by not changing the philosophy but adopting to the new reality. And that is the fundamental change. A great business leaders are able to capture and adopt in their business philosophy the new realities and move on. 2005, when Nicholas Carr wrote an article, right, that IT doesn't matter. He talked about the same philosophy as Watson or IBM's business philosophy was, that ultimately computing power will flow like electricity. People laughed at Nicholas Carr, but then only 5 years later, it has begun to flow like, by 2010, the new giants were born. Amazon, Google, all became those powerhouses of providing the computing power to all of us. What we know more commonly as the cloud services. So if you look at the future, IBM did not miss out even on that race. IBM became one of the top 3 providers of the cloud services. Now, Watson will be proven once again right. Philosophy of business survives even in the era of changing realities. So with that in mind, I invite all of experts who are going to deliberate how this changing reality and philosophy of business are going to merge together. The businesses will survive because this social media driven, or what we call the behavior manipulation driven world, the businesses are going to face the new reality, whether it's a finance field, whether it's a HR field, whether it's any other aspect of the business. It's going to be faced with the new challenge. You manipulate the behavior of people or learn the behavior of people and manipulate your products to match that behavior. There are 2 aspects in the new reality, unlike the previous one where we learned the behavior of people and tried matching the product to their behavior. Now it's a 2-way street. Learn the behavior, match the product, or manipulate the behavior and fit your products. So it's under this new philosophy. I open this conference for the ideas, and let the new ideas from the industry stalwart flow, and our student and participant in this conference benefit from this new philosophy. Thank you very much. Let me welcome you all once again.